but they were charging Johnny with manslaughter. Then I discovered that it was supposed to appear in juvenile court for running away, and Johnny was too, if he recovered. Not if, I thought again. Why do they keep saying if? For once, there weren't any charges against Daly, and I knew he'd be mad because the paper made him out to be a hero for saving Johnny and didn't say much about his police record, which he was kind of proud of. He'd kill those reporters if he got a hold of them. There was another column about Derry and Soda and me, how Derry worked two jobs at once and made good at both of them, and about his outstanding record at school, and mentioned Soda Pop dropping out of school so he could stay together, and and that I made honor roll at school, and all the time I might be a future track star. Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm on A squad track team, the youngest one. I'm a good runner. Then said we shouldn't be separated after we worked so hard to stay together. The meaning of that last line finally hit me. You mean, I swallowed hard, they're thinking about putting me and Soda in the boys' home or something? Steve was careful combing back his hair in complicated swirls. Something like that. I sat down in a daze. We couldn't get hauled off now, not after me and Derry had finally got through to each other, and now a big rumble was coming up and we would sell this Soch Greaser thing once and for all. Not now, when Johnny needed us and Daly was still in the hospital and wouldn't be out for the rumble. No, I said out loud. Two-Bit, who was scraping egg off the clock, turned and stared at me. No what? No, they ain't gonna put us in a boys' home. Don't worry about it, Steve said, cocksure that he and Soda Pop could handle anything that came up. They don't do things like that to heroes. Soda and Superman. That was as far as he got because Derry, shaved and dressed, came in behind Steve and lifted him up off the floor, then dropped him. We all called Derry Superman or Muscles at one time or another, but one time Steve made the mistake of referring to him as all brawn and no brain, and Derry almost shattered Steve's jaw. Steve didn't call him that again, but Derry never forgave him. Derry has never really gotten over not going to college. That was the only time I'd ever seen Soda mad at Steve, although Soda attaches no importance to education. School bored him. No action. Soda came running in. Where's that blue shirt I washed yesterday? He took a swig of chocolate milk out of the container. I hate to tell you, buddy, Steve, still flat on the floor, but you have to wear clothes to work. There's a law or something. Oh, yeah, Soda said. Where's the wheat jeans, too? I ironed. They're in the closet. They're in my closet, Derry said. Hurry up. We're going to be late. Soda ran back, muttering, I'm hurrying, I'm hurrying. Steve followed him in the second there was a general racket of a pillow fight. I absentmindedly watched Derry as he searched the icebox for a chocolate cake. Derry, I said suddenly, did you know about the juvenile court? Without turning to me, he said, yeah, the cops told me last night. I knew that he realized we might get separated. I didn't want to worry him anymore, but I said, I had one of those dreams last night. The one I can't even remember. Derry spun around to face me, genuine fear on his face. What? I had a dream the night of I had a dream the night of mom and dad's funeral. I'd had nightmares and wild dreams every once in a while when I was little, but nothing like this one. I woke up screaming bloody murder and I never could remember what it was that scared me. I scared Soda Pop and Derry almost as bad as it scared me. For night after night, for weeks on end, I would dream this dream and wake up in cold sweaters screaming. And I never could remember exactly what happened in it. Soda began sleeping with me and I stopped recurring so often, but it happened often enough for Derry to take me to a doctor. The doctor said I had too much imagination. He had a simple cure, too: study harder, read more, draw more, and play football more. After a hard game of football, and 4 or 5 hours of reading, I was too exhausted mentally and physically to dream anything. But Derry never got over it. And every once in a while, He would ask me if I ever dreamed anymore. Was it very bad? Two-Bit questioned. He knew the whole story, and having never dreamed about anything but blondes, he was interested. No, I lied. I awakened in a cold sweat and shivered, but Soda was dead to the world. He had just wiggled closer to him and stayed awake for a couple hours, trembling under his arm. The dream always scared the heck out of me. Derry started to say something, but before he could begin, Soda Pop and Steve came in. You know what? Soda Pop said no one in particular. We're When we stomp the Soshis good, me and Steve here are gonna throw a big party and everyone's gonna get stoned. Then we'll chase the Soshis clear to Mexico. Where are you gonna get the dough, little man? Derry found a cake and was handing out pieces. I'll think of something, Soda Pop assured him between bites. You're gonna take Sandy to the party? I asked, just to be saying something. Instant silence. I looked around. What's the deal? Soda Pop was standing at his feet, and but his ears were getting red. No, she went to live with her grandmother in Florida. How come? Look, Steve, surprisingly angry. Does it have to draw the picture? It was either that or get married, and her parents were almost hit the roof at the idea of her marrying a 16-year-old kid. 17, Soda said softly. I'll be 17 in a couple weeks. Oh, I said, embarrassed. Soda was not innocent. I had been in on both sessions about his bragging was lousy as everyone's, but never about Sandy. Never ever about Sandy. I remembered how her blue eyes had glowed when she looked at him, and I was sorry for her. There was a heavy silence, then Derry said, better get to work, Pepsi Cola. Derry rarely called Soda by his dad's pet nickname for him, but he did so then because he knew how miserable Soda Pop was about Sandy. I hate to leave you here by yourself, Pony Boy, Derry said slowly. Maybe I ought to take the day off. I've stayed in my own lonesome. I've stayed by my lonesome before. You can't afford to take a day off. Yeah, but you just got back, and I really ought to stay. I'll babysit him, Two-Bit said, into ducking as I took a swing at him. I haven't got anything better to do. Why don't you get a job? Steve said. Ever considered working for a living? Work? Two-Bit said aghast. And ruin my rep? I wouldn't be babysitting a kid here if I knew some good day nursery open on Saturdays. I pulled his chair over backwards and jumped on him, but he had me pinned down in a second. I was kind of short on wind. I've got to cut out smoking, or I won't make it the track next year. Holler, uncle. Nope, I said, struggling, but I didn't have my usual strength. Derek was pulling on his jacket. You two do up the dishes. You can go to the movies if you want to before you go see Daly and Johnny. He paused for a second, watching Two-Bit squash the heck out of me. Two-Bit, lay off. He ain't looking so good. Pony Boy, you take a couple of aspirin and go easy. You smoke more than a pack a day, I'll skin you, understood? Yeah, I said, getting to my feet. You carry more than one bundle of roofing at a time today, and so do I'll skin you, understood? He grinned, one of his rare grins. Yeah. See you all this afternoon. Bye, I said. I heard our Ford's vroom and thought Soda's driving as they left. Anyway, I was walking around downtown and they started to take this shortcut through the alley. Two-Bit was telling me about one of his many exploits while we did the dishes. I did the dishes. He was sitting on the cabinet sharpening the black-handled switchblade he was so proud of. And I ran into three guys. I says, howdy. And they just look at each other. Then one says, we would jump you, but since you're as slick as us, we figure you don't have anything worth taking. I says, buddy, that's the truth, and went right on. Moral, what's the safest thing when one is met by a gang of social outcasts in the alley? A judo expert? I suggested. No, another social outcast. Two-Bit yelped. I and nearly fell off the cabinet from laughing so hard. I had to grin too. He saw things straight and made them into something funny. We're going to clean up the house, I said. The reporters and police might come by in any time. It's time for those guys from the state to come by and check on us.